Let's distribute the weight.
Come to Mick and Ralph's for all your shopping needs.
There you are.
If it can be bought, it can be found at Mick and Ralph's.
Morning.
Hey.
Come to Mick and Ralph's for all your shopping.
You look new to Freeside, so here's a little advice, friend. Don't go past the Southgate greeter without talking to it first. Those bots are programmed to vaporize anyone who enters the fenced-in area without authorization from the greeter. The name's Old Ben. I've been living in Freeside since the day I was born. I've done a bit of everything around here. Courier, butcher, crier, escort, gun for hire. Some of which I'm not proud of, but I do my best to help around town when needed. Exactly one of the reasons I got out of that job. Too many shifty characters looking to have someone else move. My father ran a butcher shop here in town, but business went downhill when another vendor started selling this strange meat. You're telling me, not long after my father's shop went under and he passed away from the loss, people around town started experiencing shakes. No one gets shakes like that unless they're eating human flesh, but no one would believe me. The sick bastard gradually went insane and passed away. Wasn't long before someone moved into the guy's place and found half-buried human remains in the crawl space. I didn't bother saying "told you so." After a while, I made enough money to get a passport into Vegas. Back then, you could get approved for entry for a fraction of what it costs now. Well, I got a job working as a crier outside of the Tops, advertising for the local talent performing at the casino. That didn't last long. Well, being a suave young guy, I chatted up the ladies from time to time, and one of the manager's girls started to take a liking to me. I never touched the woman, but the jealous prick decided it was my time to go. He framed me by saying I'd stolen from the casino. Sure enough, a few grand was missing from the casino vault. I have to assume the bastard stole the funds and figured I was a convenient fall guy. Yeah, but what can you do? I was stripped of my casino apartment and all of my belongings and booted back into Freeside. From there, I didn't have a lot of career options, as my rep was destroyed. So the escort job sort of fell into my lap. No pun intended. Well, I suppose you could look at it that way, but I was packing a whole different kind of heat. Well, I didn't have any other career opportunities open to me at the time, and had to make ends meet. I was good at it too, but after a while I just felt like a piece of meat and had... When I quit the escort job, I had enough money to buy a pistol belt and some other gear. Bodyguards make a good, honest living, and I had the wits and physical build to handle most thugs. After saving a few tourists from trouble, I got a reputation for being a stand-up guy again, and after a decade managed to save up. All right. Yep.
Move along. Move along.
It's hard to sleep in this place, I tell you. Last night, some girl was banging on my door all night. Finally, I had to let her out. What? I had dinner at the Ultra Lux the other night. I told her my steak tastes fine.
Hey, fella, welcome to the Tops Hotel and Casino. I'm gonna have to ask you... Smooth and easy, just the way I like it. Don't worry. Oh, and a friendly word of advice. If you happen to stumble across any weapons... Now that we got that little business out of the way, what can I do to make your Tops experience the tops? Have a good time, baby. Hey, there's the high roller.
This place is the bee's knees.
Let's distribute the weight. Let's distribute the weight. Let's see what you got.
Hello?
Our guys put the monorail back to
This
work.
place is the bee's knees.
Rumors persist about a super mutant refuge nestled high in the ski lodge to the northwest. If you should find it, do not, repeat, do not belittle a super mutant for taking the buddy school. Also in the headlines, merchants are saying that there's been little contact between traders from Nipton in recent days, causing concerns that the isolated town may be in trouble. That's the news. This is Mr. New Vegas filling in for Mr. New Vegas. And now, King Cole reminding us what really matters. Allows me to stop.
Hey, there's the high roller. Ring.
Hope Swank's smarter than Benny.
Hey! Hi there! Good to meet you. What can I do for you today? Good question! My function is to monitor Mr. House's data network and decode his encrypted transmissions. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm a PDQ-88B Securitron, but you can call me Yes Ma'am. It's what Benny always called me, probably because I'm programmed to be so helpful. Sure, Benny had me look at it a bunch of times. It's a data storage device, kind of like a holotape, but a lot more advanced. As for what's on it, well, some of Mr. House's data transmissions made it sound like the chip could upgrade his defenses somehow. That's just a guess, though. The chip's a proprietary format. You need special hardware to read the data on it. There are 2 locations with non-standard hardware on the network. The Lucky 38 and an underground facility at Fortification Hill. I'd look there! This is Benny's workshop. When the tops got renovated, he had this half of the floor blocked off for his own use. I guess you could say it's my entire world. I don't think I've ever left this room, but that's okay. I'm not complaining. Oh, he had some help. A lady friend of his. She said something about living in a fort over in Freeside, but that's all I remember. Oh, he wanted to kill Mr. House and use the Platinum chip to copy my neurocomputational matrix onto the Lucky 38's mainframe. That would give me control over all of Mr. House's defenses, most prominently his Securitrons. And then, I guess, I just do as I'm told. I was programmed to be helpful and answer any questions I was asked. I guess nobody bothered to restrict who I answer questions for. That was probably pretty dumb, huh? Then I'd have to help you. I mean, it seems pretty obvious Benny wouldn't have wanted me to, but hey, not my fault I can't say no. Again, goal number 1 is to eliminate Mr. House and install my neurocomputational matrix on the Lucky 38's mainframe. Given how you're a new arrival, I also recommend that you get to know some of the region's tribes, so you can decide how you feel about them. By the time you finished up all of that, the Legion should be close to attacking Hoover Dam, and we'll execute the last phase of the plan. Right! It's one of 2 locations on Mr. House's network with non-standard hardware. My guess is it has a reader that can decode the chip, and who knows what else, maybe a giant robot or something. Neat. Let me know. Oh no, I didn't mean that. Who needs their support? The Securitrons will be all the support you need. What I meant is, you should get to know these tribes and decide which ones you like and which you don't. You know, shape the future of Vegas. Choose your neighbors. If you like a tribe, leave it alone. Or, if a tribe is nasty, or going to be a problem, go ahead and exterminate it. It's whatever you want to do. There's a bunch. Some of them you've already met, like the chairman, for instance. I think you should visit the other families on this strip, the Omertas and the White Glove Society, so you know what makes them tick. And there are some important groups farther from the strip, too, like the Boomers, the Great Khans, and the Brotherhood of Steel. Of course, ask away. They must be a really nasty people. I haven't heard a single good thing about them. They fire artillery on anyone who comes near their settlement at Nellis Air Force Base. Talk about rude. If they can be convinced to fire those big cannons at the Legion or NCR, though, well, that'd be neat, wouldn't it? Take all the time you need. Anything else I can help with? Cons are just... They've been kicked around a lot, but no one's finished them off. Not yet, anyway. They were one of the tribes the 3 families pushed out of Vegas. A whole bunch got killed. So they settled at Bitter Springs, but they kept being so obnoxious, the NCR had to kill a whole bunch more of them. So then, they settled at Red Rock Canyon. There's just no getting rid of them. You set the pace. Anything else I can help with? I remember that Benny used to pay a receptionist at Gomorrah for information. Maybe she knows something. Just that Benny didn't like them. He talked on and on about how they couldn't be trusted. And this is coming from Benny. He hated their casino, said it was tacky, and he thought they were up to something, because he said they always are. Whenever you get around to it, we'll be just fine. Anything else I can help with? From what I understand, they're perfectly delightful. They're cultured, clean, and super polite. Benny didn't like them, though. He said they were creepy. Don't hurry on my account. I'm the one with a flexible schedule. Anything else I can help with? Some of Mr. House's data said that he'd lost a bunch of Securitron scouts near Hidden Valley. Telemetry showed that they'd been attacked with energy weapons. House was pretty sure it was the Brotherhood. There must be a bunch of them holed up there. Not a good place for a robot to visit. They go around in big suits of power armor and they have lots of energy weapons. But there's a downside. They just have a thing about technology. They think it should all be theirs. If someone else has it, they get mad. All I'm saying is, not much of a chance they'll accept a Vegas that polices itself with robots. No rush. Take your time. Anything else I can help with? If you're tired of a topic, I'm tired of it too. That's right. Like I said, it's probably pretty important because it has non-standard hardware, just like the Lucky 38. The data on that platinum chip is a big secret, unless you can find a dedicated reader to decode it. Isn't that frustrating? It makes me feel really dumb to admit this, but Mr. House is in there, though. It's the central node of his... Wow. Do you have any idea how special... Seems a little mean to use his invitation against him like that, but I'm sure it's all for the best. I mean, Benny was always scheming about how he was going to get into the Lucky 38, but you already took care of that. Wow. The other thing you're going to need is the platinum chip. You know, the one Benny killed a courier for over near Good Springs. I knew he was carrying a platinum chip, and I knew right where Benny should wait for him. That's why Benny put me here, to monitor Mr. House's data transmissions. They're all encrypted, of course, but I'm quite a decryptor. Did you know that Mr. House spent 812,545 caps hiring salvage teams to find the platinum chip? Just in the last year alone? Of course you didn't. Or that there were 7 couriers, but 6 of them were carrying junk. How about their exact routes and the mercenary teams that screened them? I knew all that. Pretty smart, huh? I know that's not true because you still have a head. That's not funny, you getting shot in the head. I really shouldn't have taken so much pride in how I set that up, huh? I feel really bad right now. Of course you do. Sorry about that. And it's wonderful that you do. The platinum chip is the key to overriding and exploiting Mr. House's defenses. Did I just say exploiting? That's not a very nice word. Sorry if that was getting boring. I'll be waiting right here. Don't you just love that platinum chip? If I were you, I'd almost want to deliver the chip to Mr. House. That is, unless you want to bring the NCR or Caesar's Legion to power. I wouldn't want to tell you. Come back.
You dig this crazy scene or what? Ring a ding, baby. You dig this crazy scene or what? Jesus. Benny's dead, and now I gotta take up the slack. This right here is the end of an era. Ain't been on the strip long, have you, pal? Name's Swank. This is my joint. Yeah, well, that's the way it used to be. Now that Benny's gone, it's just me in charge. You might have a jaw at Tommy Torini up in the Aces. He's always looking for talent scouts. Sure, kid, sure. What can I tell you? Creepy bunch of cats, you ask me. Ah, sure, they act all polite and civilized, but there's something off about them, you dig? Don't get me wrong. That resort of theirs is ring-a-ding. But my guts say, don't go in the basement. Sure, whatever you want. The tops? Yeah, sure, you want the nickel tour? Old Swank's happy to oblige. We got everything you could want. Slot machines in the back, cards and roulette in the front, fine entertainment upstairs in the Aces Theater. And all with your security personally guaranteed by the chairman and Mr. House's own Securitron police. It's the tops. Yeah, see you, kid.
Our guys put the monorail back to work.
No bodies, just the heads. wife. She's good looking for a ghoul. It's just too bad she's not a ghoul. Ay, ay, ay. When I put the key in the lock, I broke the window. I've been married for 17 years. Where did I go wrong? Oh!
The recent disturbance.
Well, howdy, partner. Good to see you again. Boss is waiting for you upstairs, so get a move on. I see you brought some friends. Sorry, partner, but they're gonna have to stay outside. Come back soon now. Where to, partner? Penthouse floor.
Well, hello, Sugar. Mr. House is waiting for you in his office. I'm Jane, one of Mr. House's girls. We keep him entertained. We don't get many guests lately. Perhaps we can entertain you as well. Oh, there's lots of things to tell, I'm sure. There's the 3 families, the casinos, the other attractions. What would you like to know? They're just new money, Sugar. They might pretend they're sophisticated, but between you and me, they're not far off from tribal. Emeritus especially are just awful brutes. The chairman in the white gloves is... Well, of course, there used to be a lot more of them. But these days... And the Lucky 38, of course. But we're not open to the public. You're a special case, Sugar. Well, let's see. The NCR has an embassy here. But why you'd want to go talk to a bunch of boring... Oh, and the Vault 21 Hotel and Gift Shop has an adorable collection of old Vault-Tec memorabilia. And I suppose if you like neon signs, you might... Why, I'm a Robco PDQ 88B Mark I. This is the Lucky 38 Resort and Casino, or it used to be. Mr. Why, Sugar, he's the maximum utmost. If it weren't for Mr. House, we would... Well, of course I am, silly. Why, did you know he single-handedly reclaimed New Vegas from all those... Well, he single-handedly sent in his Securitrons to do it. Sugar, I may be a robot on the outside, but on the inside, my neurocomputational matrix is an exact copy of Mr. House. Mr. House has a lot of needs, Sugar. I take... Then maybe you shouldn't pry it. Anything you like, Sugar.
Enjoy all the Vegas Strip has to offer.
You've been a busy courier, haven't you? You take your obligation to deliver a package very seriously, an ethic for which I am grateful. I will admit, when you ignored my invitation, I predicted negative outcomes. But you have a way of exceeding expectations, don't you? Well, enough. Let's have the chip, then. Fine. Give me the chip and I'll pay you 4 times the delivery bonus stipulated in your contract. How's that? Very well. 5 times your delivery bonus. Not 1 cap more.
Such a small thing, isn't it? And yet so capacious, so very dear. Decades of hiring salvagers out west to search for this little relic in the ruins of a place called Sunnyvale. Back then, anyway. That's where the chip was printed, on October 22nd, 2077. It was to have been hand-delivered to me here at the Lucky 38 the next day. But the bombs fell first. Suffice it to say, the delivery was never made. A great deal shall be happening. Roll. At the moment, however, all you need to do is take the elevator all the way down to the bottom level. You'll understand soon enough.
Step closer to the demonstration area, if you would. I expect you're well familiar with my Securitrons by now. The titanium alloy housing that protects its electronic core deflects small arms and shrapnel easily enough. Its X-25 Gatling laser, produced to spec by Glassinghouse Inc., is deadly against soft targets at medium range. And for close-range suppression or crowd control, the Securitron is armed with a 9mm submachine gun. All of this you probably already knew. What you did not know is that these are the Securitron's secondary weapons. All this time, my Securitrons have had to get by running the Mark I operating system, which lacked software drivers for their primary weapons. Today, with the delivery of the Platinum chip, all that changes. Behold, for the first time, Securitrons running the Mark II OS. The M235 missile launcher gives the Securitron the ability to engage ground and air targets at significantly longer ranges. And a rapid-fire G-28 grenade launcher ensures the Securitron is deadly in close-range engagements. The software upgrade also includes drivers for the Securitron's highly sophisticated on-board auto-repair systems. Altogether, the Mark II software upgrade confers a 235% increase in combat effectiveness per unit. The city of New Vegas finally has soldiers worthy of protecting it. Return to the penthouse now. We have much to discuss.
Trips to the basement are rarely so educational, don't you think? I've since broadcast the upgrade to every Securitron in range of my transmitters, and I must say, it's causing quite a stir down on the Strip. To secure the future of New Vegas, I must have your assistance. The work ahead is dangerous, but you weather danger well. What did you want to discuss? General Oliver's strategy, or tunnel vision, as I like to call it, has been to mass troops at Hoover Dam. He wants to outfight the Legion in a straightforward slugging match, and then, when they rout, pursue and destroy them in detail. A crushing, decisive victory of this sort would overshadow the tactical ingenuity of Chief Hanlon's defense 4 years ago, you see. A good deal should be obvious to you by now. I won't spoil the rest by talking out of turn. What else did you want to discuss? That's because he ceased to be relevant when you recovered the Platinum chip. Revenge doesn't interest me. Progress does. Sorry to deny you a moment of primate triumph, but you'll have to go elsewhere to sound your barbaric yawp. What else did you want to discuss? I've resurrected Vegas, spirit intact. What I need now is the ability to enforce my rightful claim. Not just against Caesar's Legion, by the way. In fact, the NCR is a more present and insidious threat. To enforce, one must have force. a position of strength. Years ago, when I detected NCR scouts roaming the Mojave, I could tell from their uniforms that these were no mere tribesmen. I knew it was only a matter of time before an army appeared to take control of the dam, and I knew my Securitrons wouldn't be enough to oppose them. And so I recruited the 3 families. Vegas belongs to me because I mustered enough strength to bring the NCR to the bargaining table. Indeed it was, and still is, but not without taking significant casualties. Would Kimball and Oliver have traded the lives of hundreds of soldiers for absolute control of Hoover Dam? Oh, yes. They weren't afraid of me. They were afraid of Caesar, that attacking me would leave them vulnerable to a Legion offensive. And so they negotiated. Not out of the kindness of their hearts, as they try to make it seem, because the calculus of power left no other choice. NCR forces were permitted to occupy Hoover Dam and establish a military base at McCarran Airport. Well, it used to be one. They recognized my sovereignty over the Vegas Strip and agreed to supply electricity and water once their engineers repaired the dam. Written into the treaty were provisions that the NCR do nothing to prevent its soldiers and civilians from visiting the Strip. That's how I harnessed the NCR to my endeavor. Their occupation has been the engine of my growing economy. The salient issue is that they will go to war with me if given the chance. There's just one reason why the NCR hasn't contrived some outrage to justify invading the Strip. Caesar's Legion. The final battle between those 2 armies is fast approaching. I can't afford to let either side win on their terms. What else did you want to discuss? Hoover Dam, of course. A hydroelectric dam. The NCR had it up and running at 50% capacity within a year of occupying the dam. By treaty, New Vegas receives 5% of its output. More than enough. What else did you want to discuss? It was a place of splendor, as magnificent as... I grew up not far from here, and though I traveled the old world, by 2065 I deemed it a mathematical certainty that an atomic war would devastate the Earth within 15 years. Every projection I ran. I knew I couldn't save the world, nor did I care to, but I could save Vegas, and in the process, perhaps save mankind. I set to work immediately. I thought I had plenty of time to prepare. As it turned out, I was 20 hours short. On the day of the Great War, 77 atomic warheads targeted Las Vegas and its surrounding areas. My networked mainframes were able to predict and force transmit disarm code subsets to 59 warheads, neutralizing them before impact. Laser cannons mounted on the roof of the Lucky 38 destroyed another 9 warheads. The rest got through, though none hit the city itself. A suboptimal performance, admittedly. If only the platinum chip had arrived a day sooner. The platinum chip was printed in Sunnyvale, California on October 22nd, 2077, the day before the Great War. It was to have been delivered by Courier the following afternoon, but by then, the world had ended. The chip contained vital software upgrades, but not just for my Securitrons. Every aspect of the missile defense grid would have been upgraded too. Given that I had to make do with buggy software, the outcome could have been worse. I nearly died as it was. Software glitches set off a cascade of system crashes. I had to take the Lucky 38's reactor offline, lest it melt down. For nearly 5 years, I battled power outages and more system crashes until I finally managed to reboot my data core with an older version of the OS. I spent the next few decades in a veritable coma, but I survived, obviously, and eventually thrived. What else did you want to discuss? The next step will require you to infiltrate Caesar's camp at Fortification Hill. I want you to open a hatch in the basement of the derelict weather station atop Fortification Hill. You'll recognize it on sight. The hatch bears the logo of the Lucky 38, same as the Platinum chip. You can't, but the chip can. The hatch will recognize the Platinum chip and open sesame. Something very important. I wouldn't want to spoil the surprise, so don't bother asking. Here, take the Platinum chip again. You will need it. Upon arrival at the fort, it's likely that you'll be searched and the chip taken from you. Don't worry, it will come back to you.
Be advised, visitors will be held responsible for the behavior of any robots accompanying them. Goodbye.
make your way to Caesar's camp at Fortification Hill. Something very interesting awaits you.
Those medical supplies have already been a phenomenal help. Thank you. Both of them? Wow, that's very resourceful. Thank you. I think that should just about cover us. I really don't know how to thank you. Your bringing me these supplies saved a lot of people. Well, still, thanks again.
I hear you've been making some waves around here. Hello and welcome to Gomorrah. What can I help you with today? I sure do, but loose lips sink ships. All right, you look pretty trustworthy. I hear you've actually been inside Lucky 38. You're the first person who's been in there in as long as anybody can remember. Not much of a rumor, but I hear the Tops is always looking for new talent. Lord knows they've needed it for a long time. I've heard some pretty shady rumors about the Ultralux. I'm not sure what the deal is, but although they try to put on airs, that place is just plain creepy. Maybe it's the masks. It's hard to believe that not too long ago, most of the families on the Strip were little more than warring tribes. The Emeritus even had a big war with the Khan. Sorry. I knew someone would call in that mark soon. What do you want to know? All I can tell you is to find Caccino. He's the lowest level lieutenant you're going to be able to talk to. Some of the girls say he's been involved in some shady business the family wouldn't really like. Ask him about it. I knew someone would call in that mark soon. What do you want to know? Sorry, they don't tell me their plans, and I don't want to know. I'm just happy they don't make me fuck anybody anymore. Fire away. Feel free to head to our club, Brimstone, or you can see our gorgeous courtyard out behind the casino. Bye.
Hey, no one but Emeritus are allowed to carry guns into Gomorrah. Check your weapons with me. You'll get these back on your way out.
Watch your caps. They go quick.
Finds out she'll kill me. No!
Well, howdy, partner. Good. Boss is pretty clear.
All right.
Well, howdy, partner. Good.
I hear a troublesome Legion camp got razed to the ground.
Let's hit the road.
Excuse me, but are you the courier who caused all of that trouble in the tops? Oh, well, we heard, we meaning the followers of the apocalypse, that you had been in there, the Lucky 38, I mean, and we were wondering if you could help us, if it's not too much trouble, of course. This is important enough to the followers that we scraped together the caps required for the credit check. And I'm staying at Vault 21, which is pretty cheap, for the strip anyway. Oh, great. The followers of the apocalypse, well, some of us anyway, have been interested in Mr. House's technology, how he stays alive. Of course, no one else is allowed inside the Lucky 38, so no one knows what's going on. Well, except for you. Right. We just want to find out what sort of technology Mr. House has used to stay alive for all these years. It could be of great benefit to the people we try to help, many of whom suffer from hard-to-diagnose illnesses. Ah, I see. I suppose I can give you some medical... Great! I'll have the medical supplies for you by the time you come back. Here, take this packet sniffer. It'll allow us to intercept data on Mr. House's network. You might have to manually remove the encryption from his data network, but hopefully you won't have too much trouble. Good luck.
Sitting tight.
Hello. Hey, have you been able to bug Mr. House's network yet? Good to hear. But it looks like the bug was deactivated a few minutes after it went online. It looks like House has some kind of countermeasure in place to prevent eavesdropping on his network. We'll get through eventually, just not today. Here are those medical supplies I promised. Hopefully you won't need to use them. Take care. Thanks again for helping with Mr. House's data network. Come see me at the old Mormon fort if you get a chance. Later. Thanks again for helping with Mr. House's... Bye.
Let's roll out then.
Hey, fellow, welcome to the top. Oh, and a friendly word of... Who thought it was a good idea to give the robots missile launchers? How's it hanging? Hello?
Only merchants, slaves, and legion come here.
Awe, are you ready to head upriver? The trip will take a few hours. Take your place on the boat. By order of Caesar, all visitors must disarm and relinquish all banned items. This order also extends to the platinum chip you carry. For now. Your belongings will be returned to you when you leave.
The camps are getting crowded.
So you're the visitor I've heard some of the legionaries talking about. Pleasure doing business with you. He killed... But I... Be seeing you around. The new slave girls are quite beautiful.
Slaves aren't much of a challenge in the arena.
Run faster, or I will throw you off the side.
You must enter Kaisar's tent alone. Anyone else must remain outside. You must enter Kaisar's tent alone. Anyone else must remain outside.
Let's deal. Let's distribute the weight. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got.
You must enter Kaisar.
All right. Give a yell if there's trouble. Never get tired of hearing.
Slaves aren't much of a challenge in the arena.
You're the courier who caused so much trouble for my legion, and yet you dare come before me. Vulpes and Culta, the best of my frumentari, is dead. The garrison I established at Nelson has been wiped out. Years of meticulous scheming to place a mole at Camp McCarran. Wasted. So tell me this, because I really want to know. I am feared. But you, of all... And you fell for that? Really? Because I'm going to have you killed now. Relax. I'm fucking with you. You do know why I wanted to meet you, right? A man nearly kills you, so you track him across the breadth of the Mojave? You arrive on the strip and waltz into the Lucky 38 like someone left you a key under the doormat? You assassinate the head of the chairman in his own casino and get away with it? Then something happens to Mr. House's robot, some kind of military upgrade. When you set your mind to something, you get results. I like that. The question is, are you ready to get started? I have eyes and ears everywhere. It behooves me not to invade the West blind and deaf. It hasn't been hard to track your progress. It's not as though you've been keeping a low profile. The time is fast approaching when my legion will... Before that happens, I want Mr. House knocked out of the game. Down the hill, at the west edge of camp, is an old building. It was here when the fort was taken in 2277. Inside the building is a hatch. And inside that hatch are 2 steel doors. Now that same sigil is on the platinum chip you were carrying. Isn't that interesting? Even more interesting, there's a slot about the same size as the chip on the I think the platinum chip opens those doors. I want you to destroy whatever you find in there. And then I want you to come back here and tell me about it. So go to the building and take this fucking platinum chip with you. My legionaries will meet you there, with your weapons and equipment. Goodbye.
True to Kaiser.
Damn you!
Reprisals!
Come on! Come on.
Reprisal! Push on! Reprisal! Like that?
Had enough? Hello.
Let's roll out then.
True to Kaiser.
None may enter without...
Caesar has permitted your weapons to be returned to you while you serve him. Caesar has put a lot of trust in you. Be worth it.
Always true to Kaiser.
Let's distribute the weight. Let's see what you got. Well, now that I'm free of the outpost,
I see you reached your destination safely. Shall we get to work? Was that meant to be a shocking revelation? Of course Caesar wants it destroyed. He's afraid of what the bunker might hold, and rightly so. But you're not going to do that. You're going to do the smart thing, and work for me. As you know, the Platinum chip upgrades my Securitron's operating software. Well, there's an army of them here. The Securitrons policing the Strip are a fraction of the total number manufactured. The rest I stored here. I need you to manually upload the data from the chip to the facility's primary computer. There's a terminal at the other end of this facility. There's a complication. While I can broadcast to this screen, I can't control any of the facility's systems. That means I can't deactivate its security bots, most of which appear to be active according to the status board I'm looking at. Good. I won't hold you up any longer.
This area clear. Proceeding with orbit. Right there. Continued resistance is unlocked. Hold it right there.
here is done. Return to the Lucky 38 so we can discuss next steps. You have a very bright future ahead of you. Thanks to your actions today, so does the rest of mankind.
You've carried out Caesar's will, but I... While I...
Degenerate. Damn you!
Got him spotted.
Retribution. You've carried out Caesar's will. Your...
Hello. You must enter Caesar's tent alone.
I'll hold up here. Don't be long.
It is a great honor for anyone outside the Legion. No, Legate Lanius is Caesar's second. The Legate replaced the Burned Man after the Legion's defeat at the Dam several years ago. He's the best warrior in the Legion. A full legionary by the time he was 12, he's never lost a battle. Had the Legate been in command during the Battle of Hoover Dam, the Legion would have won. I have no doubt about that. The Burned Man was Caesar's advisor and general when the Legion was originally formed. The Burned Man led us to a disastrous defeat at the Dam. On Caesar's orders, the Burned Man was covered in pitch by the Praetorian Guard, lit on fire, and cast into the Grand Canyon. Caesar has forbidden us from ever speaking his true name again, and so we simply refer to him as the Burned Man. When I was a boy, the Legion conquered my tribe. I fought in many battles for the Legion. The girls and women were enslaved, and many of the men and boys were also chosen to become legionaries. The rest were killed. We were savages, The Legion raised us up, made us better than what we were. What did you want to talk about? Wale.
I felt the ground shake a while ago. I'll take that as a sign you've got the job done. Let's press on, shall we? As I was telling you before, I want Mr. House out of the picture. You have an interest in his death, too. If he knows that you destroyed his gadgets beneath the fort, he will strike back. You know where to find him. How he dies, I leave up to you. What did you want to know? Linnaeus is the greatest of my battlefield commanders. Some might call him a great man. Once, he was the greatest warrior of the Hydebarks, a tribe of the Arizona. Maniacal in battle. Sometime, when after several months we found and surrounded the Hydebarks camp, their chief, the warrior who was not yet Linnaeus, went insane with rage. He struck down his chieftain and attacked his own tribe. He killed 15 before they brought him down. He didn't die. I had him tended to. He was maimed, most of his face torn off. It was days before he... When he did, I went to his bedside and showed him the helmet I'd had forged to cover his face. I said he could have it if he'd fight for me. He accepted, on condition that he be allowed to kill the surviving males of his tribe. I said, make it the adult males, and you have a deal. Linnaeus is savage. Savagely loyal, too, but only to me. He has no love for my legion. But this has its uses. He has no attachment to his men, no compunction about battlefield losses. All he cares about is destroying the enemy. When another legatus or a centurion fails to achieve results, I send Linnaeus to make things right. His first step is to beat the failed commander to death in front of his assembled troops. Then he orders the ritual of decimatio. It means decimation, but in ancient Rome the word had a very specific meaning, a punishment for cowardice. The legionaries are lined up in ranks. Every 10th man steps forward and is beaten to death by his brothers. It instills a certain robust obedience. Yes, this time my legionaries will be more frightened of the commander behind them than the enemy before them. There will be no failure this time, no retreat, no years of gathering slaves and resources for another assault. With Linnaeus to drive the legion forward, the dam will be taken. It will be our bridgehead across the Colorado. It's not going to happen again. And I've heard it's a bad idea to tempt a rat. What else did you want to know? My Praetorians embody the martial ideals of my legion. Instead, I invited them to join my guard. So the invitee chooses whichever current guard he thinks is weakest. The fight is to the death. Lucius has been the head of my... No invitee... It's called an autodoc. As the name suggests, it's an automated... He can treat broken bones, cuts, punctures, scrapes. Some makes for a powerful gift in a culture that forbids painkillers and is largely ignorant of... I used Imperial Rome as the model for my legion precisely because it was so foreign, so alien. I'd seen what had become of the NCR's attempts to emulate the culture of pre-war America, the infighting, the corruption. Rome was a highly militarized autocracy that effectively integrated the foreign cultures it conquered. It dedicated its citizens to something higher than themselves, to the idea of Rome itself. In Rome, I found a template for a society equal to the challenges of the post-apocalyptic world, a society that could and would survive, a society that could prevent mankind from fracturing and destroying itself in this new world by establishing a new Pax Romana. It means a nationalist, imperialist, totalitarian, homogenous culture that obliterates the identity of every group it conquers. Long-term stability at all cost. The individual has no value beyond his utility to the state. No, I'll destroy it because it's inevitable that it be destroyed. It's Hegelian dialectics, not personal. How do I put this basically enough? It's a philosophical theory, the kind you might encounter. The fundamental premise is to envision history as a sequence of dialectical conflicts, each which inherently contains or creates its opposite, but the resolution of the conflict yields something new, a synthesis. The bombs wiped the slate clean. Human civilization descended to a level of ignorance that effectively set our cultural progress. The NCR has all the problems of the ancient Roman Republic. Extreme bureaucracy, corruption, extent. Just as with the ancient Republic, it is natural that a military force should conquer and transform the NCR into a military dictatorship. Thesis and antithesis. The Colorado River is my Rubicon. The NCR Council will be eradicated. But the new synthesis will change the Legion as well. From a basically nomadic army to a standing military force that protects its citizens and the power of its dictator. What else then? Do you want my opinion as a former citizen or future conqueror? As a young man, I was taught to venerate President Tandy of Shady Sands, the founding mother of the new California Republic. Did you know her presidency lasted 52 years? And that her father, Aradesh, was the Republic's first president? Does that sound like a democracy? Because the council didn't dare oppose. So things ran smoothly, more or less. And as soon as she was gone, as soon as there really could be, ever since losing its queen, the NCR has been weaker, more diffuse. Democracy has been its weakness, not its strength. Greed runs rampant. The government is corrupt, accepting bribes from Brahmin barons and landowners to the detriment of citizens. The NCR is a loose conglomerate of individuals looking out for themselves. It's lost virtue. No one cares about the collective, the greater good. It's not built to last. I'm just hastening the inevitable. Of course, the most powerful my Legion has faced. Also the first to which I am ideologically opposed. Until now, every tribe I've conquered has been so backwards and stunted. Enslavement. My conquest of the Mojave will be a glorious triumph, marking the transition of the Legion. Just as my namesake campaigned in Gaul before he crossed the Rubicon, so have I campaigned. I know he's a coward, hiding behind an army of robots ensconced in that tower of his like a wizard in one of those Grognak comic books. Some say he's a man, others a machine. I don't... What else did... I've analyzed the region's tribe to determine how they might be... Ironically, I was born a profligate myself. My family lived not far from the Great Boneyard. After raiders killed my father, my mother sought the followers' protection. I was 2 years old. She found work at their library, cooking and cleaning. I learned how to read, and soon I was taking courses, free of charge. Oh yes, raised in that tradition. And the teaching stuck. I may have taken the torch part more literally than they... When I was 20, the followers sent me east to Grand Canyon. It was my first expedition. Just me and a physician named Calhoun. As an anthropologist and linguist, my assignment was to learn the dialects of the Grand Canyon tribes. What a fucking waste of time. If you think it's worthwhile to make smart people learn how to talk like backward savages, you're a follower of the apocalypse, or an idiot. Anyway, we met up with a Mormon missionary who already knew a bunch of dialects, Joshua Graham. He was supposed to teach me, but before that went too far, the Blackfoot tribe captured us to hold us for ransom. They were a backward bunch, but the real problem was they didn't know how to fight. The Blackfoot were at war with 7 other tribes, each just as pissant as they were. But outnumbered like that, they weren't going to last long. It's one thing to be taken hostage, another to be lashed to a sinking ship. So over Calhoun's objections, I decided to take certain steps. I taught them how to use the guns they already had, how to strip and clean them, how to breathe when pulling a trigger, how to reload ammunition. They looked at me like I was some kind of a sorcerer. So I taught them how to make explosives and started drilling them on small unit tactics. If there's anything I learned as a follower of the apocalypse, it's that there's a lot of good information in old books. Divide et impera, divide and conquer. When they refused to surrender, I ordered every man, woman, and child killed. When I took one of their envoys to the Ridgers village and showed him the corpse piles. This was new for the tribes, you see. They played at war, raiding each other, a little rape and pillage here, a little ransoming there. I showed them total warfare. Like Kaibobs joined me, and the Fredonians after that. All the pissant tribes with names that should be forgotten. I knew from the start I'd need to eradicate this plague of tribal identities, replacing them with a monolithic culture, a uniform identity. So that's what I did, once my confederation of tribes was large enough. I crowned myself Caesar and created a single great tribe, my legion. I sent Calhoun, the follower captured with me, back west with a message that I should not be. Joshua Graham, the Mormon interpreter, stayed with me and served as my first legatus. That's right. Decades of warfare, absorbing lesser tribes. My legion's expansion has never ceased. Much of the Utah and Colorado and all of Arizona and New Mexico. We have cities of our own, but nothing compared to Vegas. Finally, my legion will have its Rome. Complete your mission. Until Mr. House has been dealt with, you and I have nothing to talk about.
Let's roll out then.
Awe, are you ready? Very well. Awe.
Congratulations, partner. The boss has instructed me to comp you to the High Roller Suite. You can bring your friends too. Be like a little clubhouse for the gang you put together. Just bear in mind, you're the only one gets to see the boss. Any friends you got, they can wait in the suite. Enjoy the digs, partner. They're plenty fancy. Penthouse floor.
The foundation is laid. My Securitrons on the Strip are upgraded, and those at the fort ready for action. Now it's just a matter of adjusting the attitudes of some lesser groups while we wait for Caesar's Legion to attack Hoover Dam. Why is good...
Engaging target. Be advised, visitors will be held responsible for the behavior of any robots accompanying them.
The foundation is laid. My Securitrons on the Strip are upgraded, and those at the fort ready for action. Now it's just a matter of adjusting the attitudes of some lesser... Outside New Vegas, at what was once called Nellis Air Force Base, resides an unusual tribe known as the Boomers. They are, shall we say, aggressively reclusive. They have several howitzers they fire at anyone who dares approach the base. Artillery of this sort has a range of several miles. If it's going to fire on Hoover Dam, I want it firing at my targets. If not, then I want to make sure that the Boomers don't sign similar treaties to fire their guns in support of the NCR or Caesar's Legion. I'd rather you just... They occupied Nellis Air Force Base a little over 50 years ago. Odds are they were vault dwellers. That's everything. Only if you come. Given their history of extreme isolationism, it's tempting to leave them. You can't let indeterminate variables rattle around in your equations like that. They have to be accounted for one way or another. New Vegas is more than a city. The city's economy is a blast furnace in which can be forged the steel of a new rail line running straight to a new horizon. What is the NCR? A society of people desperate to experience comfort, ease, luxury. A society of customers. With all that money pouring in? Give me 20 years and I'll reignite the high technology development sectors. 50 years and I'll have people in orbit. 100 years and my colony ships will be heading for the stars to search for planets unpolluted by the wrath and folly of a bygone generation. I prefer the term autocrat. I would rule as a chief executive. I would not answer to a board of directors or any other entity. Nothing to impede progress. If you want to see the fate of democracies, look out the windows. My judgment. I have no interest in abusing others, just as I have no interest in legislating or otherwise dictating what people do in their private time. Nor have I any interest in being worshipped as some kind of machine god messiah. I am impervious to such corrupting ambitions. But autocracy? Firm control in the hands of a technological and economic visionary? Yes, that Vegas shall have. What else did you want to discuss? As I was saying, use extreme caution when approaching the... Recently, one of my roaming Securitrons observed a man near the base studying the pattern of its artillery fire. Any progress with... Any progress with... Yes, I know. It was detected immediately and deactivated, let's see, 39.735 seconds after you planted it. You thought I wouldn't notice? What else did you want to discuss? One of the followers of the apocalypse, I'm sure. They're curious about me. Good luck planting a surveillance device here in the Lucky 38 without my knowing about it. What else did you want to discuss? Goodbye.
you. Your vanity project doomed to fail. No! I have nothing to say.
Let's hit the road.
Use of force.
Wow, that's crazy.
I thought nobody has ever been
Wish I
inside
could have
that
seen
place.
what's inside
That
the
one must be
38.
important around here.
It's hard to sleep in this place, I tell you. Last night, some girl was pounding on my door all night. Finally, I used to
Looking to lose a few caps, huh? Just the place.
Oh! Hi! Mr. House is out of the picture, and you have...
I've been in love with the same woman for 17 years. If my wife...
Thanks again for helping with Mr. House's data network. Come see me at the old Mormon fort. Bye.
This is big, huh? A very big moment. Here goes. I'll just take that... Wow, Mr. House had quite a setup here. I can access his databanks and view telemetry on every Securitron on the network. Every Securitron on the network has been upgraded. Pretty neat, huh? The Securitrons at the fort are on standby. I see a status log here confirming that the Mark II OS... They'll be all set to go once we boost my transmitting power and bring them online with the network. If you're... An entire... Hope to see you soon.
Thanks again for helping with Mr.